Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 19 of The Great Jahy Will Not Be Defeated. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So last we left off, Jahy has decided that now is the time to take on the creature of light. And, maybe she does have a chance after all, but we'll see, I suppose. Alright, so rather than getting right into the fight, I guess, we're learning about mana crystals and what they do to others. So, it's interesting, I guess, that Druj and how she reacts with them is, sort of considered an outcast, and I guess now maybe this is a circumstance where that power will come in handy. Wow. If she can just sort of control people, I feel like, it's gotta be a mark of her character not to use something like that when she could so easily use it for personal gain. Okay, so it seems like even when Jahy was at the apex of her power and station in the Dark Realm, she did seem to have somewhat of a character, not willing to allow Druj to just fade away. I mean, I think it's fair to say that Jahy was bringing Druj under her wing for selfish reasons, but if nothing else, it certainly had a big impact on Druj, I guess. Hence why she's willing to fight alongside Jahy now against the creature that destroyed their world. Although I guess the question is, are they capable of fighting this thing? Because on the one hand, it really only seems to be capable of empowering others, and it has to get intermediaries to do its dirty work. But at the same time... Oh boy. Alright, Jahy's saying what we're all thinking, is it the right time to be talking about this sort of thing? And I suppose the answer is no, but we're just gonna do it anyways. But, if this really is to be a big climactic fight, it very well could be the end for all involved, so, probably better to air everything now. Although that said, I don't get the impression this is going to be the final fight, as it were, because... Well, I guess just looking back at the opening animation and all that, it shows the creature of light and Sarva, so, maybe having been empowered earlier was a bit of a fluke and she might come back later. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because I feel like... I don't want to say Sarva's a wasted element, but there's a bit missing, I feel like things haven't been entirely resolved. And I guess, speaking of not resolving things, I guess we're not just gonna resolve things here, you know? Like, how hard can it be to find a creature of light in the middle of the night? You know, surely it shouldn't be too hard, but, you know, I guess, that's it then. That's unfortunate, because I thought the cliffhanger was very effective, and I thought we would get some nice action here, but, I suppose it isn't to be. Now, I guess this does sort of lend credence to the idea I was talking about, where I feel like the final fight's gonna have to involve the Dark Lord somehow. Because, like, there have been hints here and there, but it's pretty clear the Dark Lord and the Creature of Light are somehow involved with one another. And, you know, even if Jahy is the main character, quote-unquote, like, I feel like this isn't entirely her fight. Granted, she does have a vested interest in it, along with all the other former denizens of the Dark Realm. You know, they've all got a bone to pick with this creature, but at the same time, I feel like that's not the origin of the conflict. So I guess just to drive the point home that Jahy's really adapting and now finally thriving, she's actually capable of, you know, cooking and handling kitchen equipment. Because, you know, I feel like in an early episode, the boss remarked that she was proud of Jahy turning on the stove and not being frightened of it. But now Jahy's, like, capable of using knives and cooking and all that. Oh dear. So Jahy, poor Jahy, she's misunderstanding everything. Because, yeah, sometimes it's good to be the boss, but just because you're the boss doesn't mean you also don't have to work a lot, you know. Oh dear. So Jahy's really just gonna do it and open her own place. Like, she's gonna get absolutely smacked in the face by reality in short order. Because, I mean, I feel like Jahy's just severely underestimating, you know, getting the real estate, setting everything up, all the costs you need to incur just to get all the equipment and everything ready. And, like, Jahy doesn't know anything about business, you know? Like, she has to be sort of good at customer service by virtue of being a waitress, but I feel like it's sort of outside of Jahy's nature, you know? Alright, so it's interesting that the landlord's entertaining this whole thing. Because, you know, I don't think she would be down for going with Jahy's tomfoolery here, but just, you know, going along with this taste testing, with the understanding that Jahy's going to jump ship and start her own place, like, that's, you know, maybe betrayal is too strong a word here, but the boss and the landlord have done Jahy a considerable number of favors over the course of this series, and I feel like maybe just sort of turning around and jumping ship is kind of in poor taste, you know? And I guess in so many words, the landlord has said this by leaving without tasting the food. And, you know, sure, it might be good, but accepting the food is also sort of crossing a boundary, too. You know, it's one thing if Jahy's ambition had always been to leave and start her own place and something like that, and, like, the understanding was that this was clearly a temporary measure, but, I mean, even from these flashbacks, it's pretty clear that there was a good deal of charity going on here. You know, the boss was helping out Jahy because she was down and out, and, well, I guess because it was the right thing to do. So to sort of, ignore all that goodwill, that's, you know, that's something. And I guess for better or for worse, I don't know if Jahy really has the strength of character to just go through with it now. Or not strength of character, but rather the viciousness necessary. I mean, at least the boss is, not tactful, but more benevolent about this whole thing. You know, it's like, look, if you had told me I would have helped you. And, fair enough, you don't really have to go that far, but it speaks to the boss's character that she would. Ooh. Okay, so now the creature of light is coming back again. Oh. This is devious. For the creature of light to, bestow power to the boss. Oh dear indeed, because Jahy is not going to want to fight the boss. She might have to, but this is a rather dire situation indeed. So, I guess the boss has been empowered, but what's she gonna do with it, Because I feel like, it's not that the boss is stupid, but I think she just has, absolutely no interest in destroying mana crystals or doing anything like that. She'd just kind of do her own thing, right? So that's interesting. The Grey Eminence, Jahy calls it. I don't know where that name's come from, but I guess it's better than nothing. I mean, I understand the situation is a little bit less than ideal, but I feel like Jahy's making it out worse than it is. I mean, it's not like the boss has done anything malevolent. So here we go. The boss, she's not even, immediately doing the bidding of the Grey Eminence. She's just oh, sorry, did you need something? Yeah. I think Jahy's looking into things a little too deeply. It's okay, well, the boss is my enemy now, time to fight. But, yeah, the boss isn't going along with it. She's just telling the creature, look, no, I'm not gonna steal Jahy's mana crystals. Stealing is wrong, and, those belong to Jahy. I'm not taking them. It seems like no one's ever told the creature of light no before, given by how flustered it suddenly seems. And, sure, it might have a justification that, mana crystals bring misfortune to those who come across them, but at the same time, I don't think that strictly justifies stealing. It's interesting. Oh. Okay. I was gonna say it's interesting that this has led to a tantrum of sorts, but for this creature's true form to be like that of the Dark Lord. Okay. So now the creature's acting of her own volition, of her own power, only for the Demon Lord to show up. So yeah, I guess they are two sides of the same coin here, equal and opposite forces. And, if the Dark Lord was made by mana crystals, or, mana crystals given form, I'm wondering if this is just sort of one of those natural phenomenon in the universe that just sort of happens. Although as far as natural phenomenons go, this one's, certainly more dangerous to the average person if they can just suddenly become gigantic and start destroying the city. At the very least, the Grey Eminence was not too concerned about property damage, it seemed, and I feel like the Dark Lord's more than willing to take the fight to the other creature. Now, I do have to wonder, the boss has power, but, do the other former vassals of the Grey Eminence have power still? It's we haven't seen any transformations lately. I don't know. I guess at a time like this, anyone who can do anything probably should, because if things go on unchecked, then I guess things are going to get rather hairy really quickly. I guess of all the people capable, Jahy's really the only one of any considerable power. And even then, she's clearly outclassed. I guess the question is what now? Would Jahy be enough to tip the balance? Because it seems like the other two are evenly matched. And maybe like the slight property damage to the pub will be enough to spur Jahy into decisive action. Because she's saying like, okay, I couldn't protect the store, but like, it's not substantially destroyed yet, things could always get a little bit worse. Okay, so Kyoko can transform, she just wasn't. I feel like that's kind of a moral failing on her part, to just sort of stand by and not do anything. Surely that should be the first instinct, right? Like, there's trouble going on, my duty is to this city, and so I will protect it. Now, I guess Druj is probably capable of helping, and maybe Sarva is too, were she so inclined, but I feel like the boss and the landlord, like, they can't really do much of anything. Jahy's charging them with evacuating people, but I don't think they're even really capable of doing that, given that they have no authority. I guess it's kind of immaterial now if Jahy's getting involved in a real meaningful way. So that was a bold move to sort of block everything like that, but I feel like it probably wasn't a great idea in the long run. I'm wondering if this was sort of like a tactical sacrifice to try and get everyone to stop fighting. I feel like that sort of thinking's a bit beyond Jahy and what she's capable of, but I don't know, maybe this is just sort of the end of her character arc. She is now willing to sacrifice herself on behalf of others. I guess tellingly, it seems to have worked, getting everyone to stop fighting. I guess the question now remains, is being sorry for everything worth it? Will that fix the problem? It seems like this might not be the case. Okay. So this is all just like a family squabble. The Dark Lord made her own place to hang out, and her sister was upset. This creature of light. Okay. Huh. Alright, so I guess there weren't any real bad motives going on here, but it seems like everything just kind of went sideways from the very beginning. It's interesting that the Grey Eminence here had noble motives, sort of. She just wanted to spend time with her sister, but I don't know. I don't get why she said destroy the mana crystals then, knowing what they were. At the very least, she's showing contrition for all the stuff that happened. Wait a minute, this is Jahy talking. Like, she's recognizing the stupidity, the foolishness of everything she's gone through, and that's what preserves her life? Well, fair enough, I suppose. I think I would be rather unhappy in this situation, too. The Grey Eminence is apologizing to the Dark Lord, but I think what Jahy really means is apologize to me, because my life has been horrible ever since you did what you did. Oh dear, it seems like Jahy's really met her match here, in that there's finally someone as truculent as her when it comes to doing the right thing. At least that's how Jahy was initially. Yeah, so I guess, things worked out in the end. No one was really hurt. There was only a little collateral damage on the shop. And, despite all that, things kind of worked out. I guess the question is Jahy willing to accept an apology despite, getting blasted like she did? I guess at the very least, the boss is recognizing what Jahy did. It's no small feat to have gone to such lengths to protect the city, even if there weren't any real permanent ramifications. I feel like that's worth at least 1 month's worth of rent free, Like maybe cut Jahy some slack for 1 month. Now I guess the big question is, if the Dark Lord and her sister are now on good terms, and it's not like they were on particularly bad terms, it seems, but if things are okay now, then I feel like everything should be good then, right? Oh, okay, so Druj just showed up just in time for nothing to happen. That's kind of unfortunate. I was hoping she would do something. I guess it doesn't ultimately matter because, everything's better now, happily ever after and all that. Wow, Druj is really sort of overstating things, I wouldn't say Jahy was beaten to a pulp, but, well, what now? Business as usual again? I feel like that's probably the only way things can be now. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.